The MyLoaders log is an application that was created to help reloaders digitally store their configurations. It also allows you to track your powder, bullets, cases, primers, pretty much everything that goes into making the bullet, along with your equipment if you wish. Initially starting out, you have the ability to list them all by calibers or by configuration sheets. Calibers pretty much will group everything into one simple thing where you can just go, okay, I need a reload for a 223. So you can just click on that and view all your configurations for 223. Or you could just stay within the configuration sheets and sort it out by stuff that you have active, your own personal configuration loads, or the referred ones. Referred ones are ones that are from a book. You can view by personal, or if you took the time to reload it from a book, you can reload it from a book, and you can store all the configurations for there in this digitally, so you can just easily look it up instead of thumbing through books. All the books you have, you can just look it up all in one spot. Now, initially starting out, when you do configurations, you got to pretty much add your caliber. You got to also make sure you have all your powders, primers that you want listed in there before making a configuration, because if it's not listed in the inventory, it's not going to show up, and it's not going to allow you to on the fly do it. The inventory is something you have to do for your configuration. A lot of these will allow, like I said, powder, primers, bullets, and cases. And of course, if you also want a printed inventory report, you can do that too. Up here, you can sort by default, by manufacturers, in stock, out of stock. And that one's just for the reports. You can also do the same for the actual active inventory. Let's say there's all, but here's in stock. So now you get to see all the powders that you have in stock. The weight, the price set in total. So if you were picking up 1 pound at a time, or 8-pound keg, or 4-pound keg, you just add it in here just by simply, if you already have it listed in here, then all you have to do is just add to current. And you can say I bought a 4-pound keg for, let's say, $99.99. And so this will break it down to the grain of the price per grain. So you could just click update, and then it will update that. And the reason why we're also breaking it down per component is for the configuration sheet. So when you go to some of your personal loads and you want to see, oh, what is the cost per bullet, you can actually just go over here to the cost stats. So right here, I'll break it down to one bullet, one round of ammunition. It will cost me 15 cents to make. And then down here in the configuration, your cost stats, you can see the total inventory that you have. So in grains, you have this many grains. Here you have primers, cases, bullets, number of rounds you can make, because it'll just take the lowest one and say, okay, you can make this many. And right now here, we just have enough bullets to make. And that's about it. That's our only limitation at that point. So to make 1,145 rounds, it'll cost $171.75. The configurations also have a cost history, so every time you make a load using this application here, then it will track, okay, I made 20, it costs 11 per round. So the whole 80 box here is cost me $9.27 to make. So you can actually track how much it costs for however many you make. And the lot number, you can also mark each uh, batch that you made with that lot number. So if there was a bad batch, probably, then you can, and you marked it on the box, then you can also go back and go like, okay, this whole section might have some bad rounds in there. You might want to use that for practice, disassemble it, etc. Some of the other things with the configuration, like other than that, you can mark it as favorite, inactive, active. So if you had one that you made, but it's not one you use that much, you could still keep it in here. Just put it as inactive, and it will just go to the background. You can keep your active up front for the ones that you normally use, and you can also mark it as favorite if you wish, if you want to narrow down that list of configurations that you use. At the beginning here, there's the information. You can give your configuration any type of name you want, the caliber that it goes to, and what type of firearm that's made for. And of course, there's your manufacturer information for the bullet, the diameters, the grains, sectional density, any part number that was to its ballistic coefficient. Your primers, manufacturer type, and the primer type. The case information, trim to length, and how many times it's used. And that one you can actually track within the inventory. The powder or powders that you use for those configurations. So if you've experimented with a number of ones and you number of powders that you like, but one, and they all work well, but one you like more than the other, then you can all have it within that same configuration. And just to, if there was one that you were gonna like, oh, let's switch from unique to pistol powder, well then let's set this one as default. So that one would be the default. So when you start making ammunition through this application and use pistol powder, you switch this to default, and then you go over to make live ammunition for this configuration load. Now, real quick, what we do, or how we learn to reload, is that there's your load minimum, there's load maximum, and then there's the medium. The medium's not exactly the middle, but it's the one that's in between the mid and the max that you're going to be using. So when you make live ammunition, this medium is the one that you really need for it to track it, because that's the one we're most going to be using. Notes, any notes that you, miscellaneous notes that you want to put in there. Of course, you can also print this configuration or export it to Excel or XML to, if you want to send it to a buddy that has the same program. Now, real quick on the making live ammunition, all you have to do is you can either click on this button while you're viewing it, or you can right click on here and make live ammunition ready to use. So when you click on this, it will, make the manufacturer. That manufacturer name is stored within the settings. So you can, the load name and your name and so forth. So that will come up as a manufacturer as you, the configuration name, the caliber, the grains, the jacket, and the quantity. And this is how many you make. So this one will actually automatically get on the information and tell you, hey, you have enough material to make 1,145 rounds. So you at least know, so you can't go over unless you already had all the inventory in there, because like I said, this tracks everything. So we're trying to keep everything precise. So let's say we made 200 rounds. Let's make, so remember that 1,145 was bullets. That was our max. So if you went back to configuration, we made the 200. 200 bullets were subtracted. 200 cases were subtracted. 200 primers were subtracted. And, whatever you do your math, the 5.6 times 200 was subtracted from the grains. And audit history, go down. There's our 200. Now, where does that go? That one goes into this live ammunition queue, pretty much. You can store it in here for however long you wish, but there's our 200. But this was kind of made to with our My Gun application to um, complement it. So right here, all you have to do is just click Export to My Gun Collection, and you just click yes. It'll confirm you want to do this. Yes. So this will actually dump all this information into the My Gun application ammunition section. Firearms. These firearms can be added manually, or they can be imported from the My Gun application. So you don't have to retype information twice if you're already a user of the My Gun collection application. Configurations start up here in the loader's log. As you can see, it's kind of sorted out by the use of the firearms that you have listed already. So you can go to one of the pistols and it'll get the information just like you would if you were keeping the paper trail of your reloads. It'll tell you the date, the yards, the groups, the shots you did, the powder, manufacturer, bullets, primary case, conditions, total length, that was the end result, and config names if any. Now you can use the configuration to quickly populate the information, or if this was one of the experiments and it doesn't have configuration yet. So you can add a manual configuration, select the firearm that you used it with, the date you tested at the yards. You can enter in all this information manually. You don't have to have a configuration preset for your tests. Or if you already had a configuration set out and you're just experimenting with the powders, then you can just use configuration and to help speed it up real quick. You can select, oh yeah, that's a 9mm, but I want to do it for, can't do it for 22, for 7.62 by 39. The list refresh for anything that has that caliber is 7.62 by 39. So you just select the configuration that you use, the condition, the length, and head. And let's put this in real quick. Square size, 10 number of shots, 10. Add that. Let's go to that firearm. As you can see, here's our new test. And of course, if you wanted to print it out, store on the records, you can print it with or without the config. You print it without the config. Here's our loader log print sheet for your own hard copy records. Now, one of the other things why we built this application was the search function. Searching through books. The reloaders have tons and tons of books that they refer through and have, for one caliber, 5 different books set out on that page to figure out which one might be the best. Or even then, you might have some oddball bullet that you don't even know offhand because you normally shoot, let's say, 9mm, 115 grains, and you get a 124 grain bullet. So with the search function, you can search for the bullet weight, and you're like, I need powder. If let's say powder name, and do I have anything with unique? Because I have unique in stock. What I want to know is configuration name, bullet manufacturer, bullet name. Let's go for caliber. Give me the feet per second medium. Load medium. Powder manufacturer and powder name. And get results. And here's our quick search results. We have a couple of configurations with those parameters that we set. Here's our bullet. Here's the bullet name. Here's the caliber that went for the configuration name. Here's our medium FPS or load. Here's the grains that was used, and here's our powder. Like I said, one of the more important things is when you first start using this application is to load in your inventory, because that's what the configurations mostly use. I mean, if you don't have that inventory listed, then it's not going to be able to track the information all that well. But if you always have any questions, just go to support.burnsoft.net, send us an email, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.